Hey everyone, so today I am dyeing up my mini set, which is going to be my sample for my mystery shawl colors, and I thought I would take you guys along with me while I go ahead and dye it up. I already have an idea of what I want to do and the colors I want to make, so I'm going to take you guys along with me as I dye those up. So we're going to go down to my dye studio, which is in my basement, and we're going to get started. Off camera, I've been soaking 5 mini skeins for a couple hours now. I threw them in some regular tap water before I left to take my son to school, and now it's almost lunchtime, so they've been soaking for a couple hours. Typically, you want to soak your yarn for at least 20 minutes before you dye it. It just helps open up the fibers, and it gets it ready to kind of soak up the yarn, or to soak up the dye. I also got my dye stocks ready. In my last dye with me, the one I did like almost a year ago, I kind of explained the math of yarn dyeing a little bit. So I like to dye with 1% stock solutions as my starting point. And then what that means is it's 1 gram of dye in 100 milliliters of water. And then to get a 1% depth of shade on your yarn, you usually want to do 100 milliliters of your 1% stock solution with 100 grams of yarn. So I measured out 50 milliliters of each of my dye stocks and just a little bit of a surprise one. And I'm going to be using those to dye the yarn, and I'll explain the colors, or I'll go over the colors when I start dyeing. And then I got my mason jars ready. This is how I dye my mini skeins. I put them in mason jars, and then I put them in a steamer basket. And then you need citric acid, which is the mordant, which helps bind the dye to your yarn. So I am going to go ahead and get my camera into my tripod and explain what exactly I'm doing. All right, so we are ready to start mixing our colors, but before we do that, I am going to add my citric acid into my mason jars. I typically do about a half a tablespoon in 100 grams of yarn. So I usually just grab my tablespoon and then I just sprinkle some into each jar. I know it's not very scientific, but whatever. And then after I check on my yarn to see how it is taking the dyes, if it seems to be taking a little bit longer, I will add some more into the jar. So that is not the biggest deal. So to measure out my dyes, I use this little syringe since I'm dyeing minis today. I don't need more than, I think 7.5 is the most I need of any given color. No, 10. 10 milliliters is the most I need. So this one, I just do 2 syringes and I have what I need. So the colors that I'm using today are Golden Poppy, Peach Blush, Pink Orchid, and True Turquoise. Again, I'm just using very little of that to make a really pretty purple, hopefully. So my first color I'm going to make is our more pinky one. So I need 10 of the Pink Orchid. In my first jar. And then in my second jar, I'm going to put 5. And then in my third jar, I have to remember what I was doing now. Okay, since I can't remember now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, I have an extra jar over here. I was only gonna dye 4. That's fine. I'll think of something else. I'm gonna put 7.5 in this one. And I'll figure out what to do with that one later. And then in between your dyes, you wanna clean out your syringe. That way you're not mixing colors. So for our second color, we're gonna do the Peach Blush. This is one of my favorite colors. I love it so much, it's so pretty. And we are going to do 5 milliliters in our first jar, 5 milliliters in our second jar. And in our fourth jar over here, we're actually gonna do, how much did I wanna do? We're gonna do 5. I'm trying to create a really light peachy skein. And so we're gonna see if 5 does the trick. I might need more, but you can always add more dye, but you can't take it off. So I can make the color darker, but I can't make it lighter. So I'm gonna rinse this off again because that's all I need for that color. All right, so my third color, I'm gonna go with the Golden Poppy, and I'm going to do 5 in that first jar. and then 10 in the second jar. And that is it for that color. So the last color I'm going to be adding is this True Turquoise, and I only need 2.5 milliliters of that color. And I'm putting that into the third jar that has this 7.5 milliliters of the peach. Oh, no, not peach. Of the Pink Orchid. All right. And then that's it. So, of course, we need to mix this all up because you can see in, like, especially the one I just added, like, those colors aren't quite mixed up, so you're going to get some spots on your yarn of each different color. So we're going to mix that up. And then, of course, wipe off your spoon in between. And then I'm gonna go ahead and drop my yarn into each mason jar. Dyeing in mason jars, you are gonna get a more tonal color because the yarn just doesn't have as much room to spread around. And so it can kind of stick together, like the dye doesn't have as much access as if you were using a bigger hot vessel to dye your yarn in. Ooh, that one's really pretty. I actually really like the way that turned out. Okay, I had an idea for what I want to do, but my steamer pot can only hold 3 mason jars at a time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that ready and get 3 of these jars setting because you need the heat to, if you don't heat it up, your dye is basically just gonna wash out of your yarn. So you have to heat these up. Going. All right, so the idea that I had for this one, I'm trying to think. Actually, you know, I actually really like that color. Okay, I'm gonna try to come up with one of Stephanie's colors and see how it works. I don't know how it's gonna work though. So I'm gonna go get my syringe again. You know, I'm gonna use blue, blue's in it. We are going to do 10 milliliters of True Turquoise. And we're gonna do 10 milliliters of the golden poppy. And then we're gonna mix that up. It's really pretty. And then if you want to check your colors, you can take a paper towel and just kind of dip a little corner into the dye. And then you can see the color if you don't want to put it on your yarn right away. And I think it looks a little light for what I wanted, but it may work for a different color. Really pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna let my yarn heat up. I'm gonna check on it in about an hour. These are just gonna sit in their mason jars while they wait to be heat set, or I'll come back when the yarn is ready to be rinsed out. And until then, I'm going to clean this up and go eat lunch and do some stuff with my kids.
Let's do 4 pieces in a row.
That's fine. You guys are gonna hear kids in the background. And the table's gonna bubble up because I forgot my ring light and all the stuff. And I lost my microphones.
We have nothing. We are very not prepared.
We have our kits that we finished dyeing. We were recording this like.
Oh, you said kids.
Kids. No, we did not dye kids. We dyed kits. That's what this video is. Anyways, we're recording this quite a bit after we finished dyeing because I ended up getting really sick with, I don't know,
A virus.
a virus of some sort that I'm still recovering from. I think about 3 weeks later.
Oh, and pollen count is super high today.
And my sinuses are all over the place because it's raining.
It's gorgeous.
So fun times. So that's why in my video I showed you dyeing like one of my full size schemes and nothing else because I was just like, I'm exhausted. I can't do this. So
yeah, I had to record my own and it probably didn't show very much.
I think you recorded the wrong way too, so it'll be interesting when I try to edit this together.
It'll be great, guys.
But you guys will already seen it, so hopefully it's not too bad. Alright, no, I don't want your shirt. Thank you though. Oh, you want to put on the baby?
Later.
I need her toe.
Okay, well why put a shirt on a baby doll? Why don't you talk about your kit?
So these are my colors. It's very hard to see in this video, but the last two are different. So first I have this very nice light blue color. It's showing up more icy, I think, but it's definitely more of a green. This one was just supposed to be a darker version of this one, but it turned out super blue. Don't know why.
Let's do the guy.
I just literally when
We had fun.
I did have fun. But when I took the dye, I changed the depth of shade, but used the same, like everything else was the same. All I did was add more water to one to make it, you know, a little darker. Or I added a lighter. So you think that these would be similar, but they are not. These ones are very, very similar, although they are made completely different. I remixed for both of these. And
So
so
one is definitely darker than the other.
one is definitely darker, and I think it's a little bit more. It's definitely got some more darker greens in it than blues. This one is a little bit more blue, and we have some lighter things in here. So those are my colors. It was very different, but I was very excited when my daughter looked at them after I had dyed them up, and she called them over. She's like, "Oh, Mom, they go from light to dark," and I'm like, "Okay, yes, that's what I wanted. That's the effect. I wanted that crescendo." So I'm very pleased with them. I'm excited to start swatching up and winding them shortly. So
Alright, and then this is my kit.
I love them.
I love it.
I can't find it.
I kind of wish this one was a little darker, my end color, but I really, really like it. I love how it turned out. So it starts with like the super light peachy color, and then this one, which is more of a
Wow.
yeah, it's like more of a coral, like a light coral.
Yes.
And then I got these like orangey sunset one, and then a pink.
Mini boat. It looks like a mini boat.
I love it. I think these two look very similar. Oh, thank you. No, we're not putting that in the baby. Sorry. So this is mine. It looks darker because, again, I don't have my ring light. Later, baby. Baby, waistline done.
Yeah, all the colors are just a little darker than what they
Yes, a
are.
bit darker. Just because I don't have my light. But that's okay. We'll make it work.
Supervising today.
Yes. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I think it's gonna make a great shawl that my daughter wants it. She saw the colors. She's like, "Oh, are those for me?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Oh, but pink is my favorite color."
And I did buy my own Chowgu needles.
I was gonna let her borrow mine because I have
You have a lot.
I have a bit of okay. For a size 4, I think I have 3 different interchangeable sets that I could use.
I'm just worried that I'm gonna get frustrated and like tear it.
Are you trying to show your baby? Okay,
So I
so
did buy my own.
we are now gonna wind up our colors, and then we're not gonna talk anymore, but we're gonna wind up our colors. We'll show you a bit of that. And then I am going to show her how to knit a flat swatch on circular needles. So we'll show a bit of it, but we hope you guys enjoyed this video of the dye with me.
Yes.
And I think next week we're gonna have our thoughts about how we're feeling about the MKAL and how it's gonna go. I have no idea what to expect because he's crazy. So, I mean, in the best way, in the best way possible. Yes.
Yeah. Very,
I don't mean that as a negative. That is absolutely positive.
lots of shapes. I think that's what they
He's all about textures and colors and the unexpected, throwing everything together, and I love it because my life is chaos. And
Yeah, mine too. But
as you can tell by the noise in the background,
they were all very well behaved.
they were.
They're just
They're just a little loud. I mean, it's the middle of the afternoon right now. It's not afternoon. It's the morning.
I have no idea because I feel like it should be afternoon because I'm over. I came a little early today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so please follow us along for all of our journey throughout this MKAL. I'm very nervous but kind of excited. It'll give me something to do. I like having deadlines, so maybe a little bit more.
You have a week deadline. You have a week to finish each clue. Except for the last one. And if you fall behind, who cares? It's a very loose deadline.
My problem's gonna be the cast on and having to count all those stitches. And I'm like,
You usually cast on really small and then you build it. It's the bind off.
okay, as long as I don't have to cast on that much.
So they're doing a puzzle on the floor and they got 5 pieces together. I'm very excited.
They're very cute.
All right, we're gonna wind up our yarn and get knitting.
All right.
That was a huge bump on the table.
That was me.
If you guys like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know down below what color combinations you're using if you are participating. And we are so excited to have you guys along with us.